Hello friends and welcome to another Shiny Developer Series live stream. My name is Eric and thank you so much for joining wherever you are in the world. Well, so I have had a bit of change of what I originally thought about in terms of scheduling, say a week or two ago. I'm gonna see what happens if I try Wednesday nights because a couple of reasons. First, if you caught the one last Tuesday, things happened here at the house that made it a little difficult to finish it up. And also, a lot of things are happening at the day job. That means that kind of my Tuesdays are getting a bit more busy. So I'm going to try at least with Wednesday evenings for now. Hopefully I don't go too late, but this is about the best time I can do during the week. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So, okay, so what are we going to do today or tonight? We're continuing the fun work on the what I'm calling shinycal shiny application that's meant to give us a easy, friendly user interface to looking at all the very cool data science streams out there in terms of when they're happening, as well as some of my good friends from the Linux community. I'm going to be incorporating that as well. And I'm kind of patterning this after some things I do at work where it's not just the application you see in front of you, it's also the systems it hooks into. And so I've got a couple of things that we're going to have as backends for this. I even thought about some new ideas that I might talk through if any of you are interested in learning about that. So first I want to share some kind of housekeeping kind of things before we get going. So let me hit my magic buttons here, and I want to, you don't want to see that, that's like Inception there. Let me go here first, of which is the latest interview episode of the Shiny Dev series was released last week. We had a great conversation with our studio software engineer, Nick Strayer. He was very great talk about some of the things he's doing with Shiny App Stories. It's a great new section on the RStudio website for Shiny. And he talks a bit about how he got to RStudio, and he's really excited to be there. And lots of other cool bits there, so highly worth checking out if you're interested in that. And the other thing that I just saw today is one of the biggest conferences of the year related to R is you might say the OG or the original Use R conference. It's virtual again this year in 2021. And the full schedule has been released. I saw this go out on Twitter. I'll put this link in the chat if you all want to see this. Let me bring in the chat anyway. Hold on a second. Let me get that going. Go back here. Okay. So yeah, if you're on chat and you're lurking about, you can click that link and you'll get to what I'm showing here. And some of you may have heard in my previous sessions, I will be giving a talk. And when that's happening, this is the first for me personally, but it will be not until the very last day and the last slot before the closing remarks. So I will be talking about how open source technology with R can enable you to produce state-of-the-art media productions, whether it's streaming like this or podcasting or things like that. But I am slated to give a talk in my local time zone, 9 in the evening. I'm sure that works out to other time zones around the world, so I'm sure you have lots of converters for that. So yeah, I gotta start preparing for that. I've got a lot of thoughts about how to do this. I am going to probably be maybe daring, maybe too dangerous here. I'm going to try and do it live. Although it's going to be interesting to try to do showing OBS, the software I use for streaming, while I'm using OBS. I don't know how that's going to go, but we will see. So yeah, I got to start prepping some materials for that as the weeks come by, because this will happen soon enough. All right, so we can get into some coding here. Going to switch over to, I'm going to try VS Code for a bit, and then when I run into any issues, I have RStudio Server already set to go in my dual developer setup. So let's go ahead and dive into what I've done since we last did a stream, which was last week at this time. So I can't remember if I showed this last time, but I started putting some of my notes in an R Markdown document of the different bits I have to solve to get the calendar that I've set up on the back end successfully imported into a format that will be usable by the packages that I am using for the calendar UI, which is called toastui. So as I've been investigating this a bit, you can see I started taking notes on the required columns from what I can tell. Some of these are pretty self-explanatory. We need a calendar ID, it's just kind of like a unique thing. That could be anything really. But the key ones here are the title and the body, whether the meeting is, or see, I'm in my work mode, not meeting. The event, we'll call it the event, is just a one-off kind of thing, or if it's a recurring thing. Now, those of you that know Twitch pretty well know that when you set up these streams, you're, in essence, forced to do a scheduled regular occurrence of a stream, and then you have to kind of opt out of specific instances when maybe you have life happen and you're not able to make it, or you change the day or whatever. So I'd imagine most of these is that we're going to have some kind of recurrence where it might say something like every week. Let me fix word wrapping here so that, okay, there. Now, the example I found from toastui only has like either missing or every week, so I'm not quite sure what other values would be, but we'll just go with every week, basically. We need, of course, importantly, the start and end times, and the format for this is important, I think, is that it goes the year, month, and day, and then the hours, minutes, and seconds, I believe. Now, that is something we're going to have to transform, you'll see in a little bit, from the raw import of the calendar file. So we got some work to do as we get that going. The other things are kind of more ancillary right now. Category, we'll probably do time because most of these are, of course, not all-day streams. Location, what I'm planning to do for this is, since these are, online streams, I might use the location field for like the URL of somebody's channel, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform it happens to be, and then the rest are more for display. So that's the goal, is to get the raw import that I've been successfully looking at into this kind of framework. So I've been experimenting with some code here, and I've also experimented with having, like, as you think about interfacing a Shiny app with like another system, or there may be another account on that system or server or whatever have you. Sometimes you have like a user account on that thing, and then you might have what some people in the industry like to call as system accounts, where that system account is meant to do like one very specific thing and only that thing, and it doesn't let the user go into other parts of that particular system. It kind of sandbox them into that. So as I was thinking about that for this project, I had a change of heart of how I authenticate to the back end that's hosting at least the draft calendar that I've put together. So I'm going to go, let me get some bits organized here. I'm going to go back to the browser here. And what you see here is that this is what I showed last time as I was getting things set up. This is the Nextcloud platform, which is a self-hosted way to have cloud things online. Let me just switch out for a bit until we get some new arrivals. So what you see here is I have started, whoops, I didn't want to do that. I have manually added, for now, a few of the different data science and R related streams that I've been either watching or know about. And there's obviously way more than this out there, but these are kind of the initial group I've set out to do. So I have from Monday all the way to Saturday. There's always stuff happening. I started with this week to kind of get it going, but then you can see this is Nick Wan, who's of course running Sliced. He does something on Monday to go over like contestant information. And so I've set up a recurring event every Monday at 8:30 through, I think it's 10, maybe it goes later. I can always change that, but all I did is I used the location of his Twitch channel. And I don't have anything for a description yet, but the other thing I'm going to play with is the idea of tags for this. And right now I have a tag called live stream. I'm actually thinking of trying different tags to organize this a little bit. So haven't really nailed that down yet. So I'm going to probably talk through some things today or tonight and see what really sticks. So this is kind of the front end that Nextcloud gives us, and it's okay, but we're going to make it obviously better with Shiny. So let's go back to VS Code, see what we're dealing with here. And I'm going to start running some of the chunks here just to get everything set up here. So in VS Code, there's a little link called Run Chunk. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. You can see that went very fast. I'm on a very nice server, I dare say. We'll get the demo calendar in there, and this is where I use the glimpse function from dplyr to kind of see in the example calendar that toastui gives you. This is how I started deriving what that package needs when you supply that to the UI widget for the calendar view. So I've got those analyzing that a bit. And then we start looking at the raw import. So I've set up a dedicated user on this backend server that the calendar is hosted from, and I'm calling it shinycal. This user on this Nextcloud server has very little privileges. Its main job is to do calendar stuff. So that makes me feel a little easier that if, for whatever reason, this account's compromised, not that it likely would happen, I do have a nice secure password for it, that they wouldn't be able to damage too much within there because it is a very limited thing. So anyway, let's import that and get that going here. The warning thing is about, basically I have to import, I should say, hold on, let me change the levels here a bit. I didn't like the looks of that. Okay, we'll try that. When I import this, what's called caldev or ical format, it's like a big text string that's delimited with new lines in a specific way. I actually write that content to a temp file and then use a couple packages that Tan actually helped me discover. One called calendar and one called caldev to import that into R, and I made a utility function called import cal with various arguments, and I haven't really documented it that well yet, but we can look at what raw df looks like in the glimpse, and this is where you see that it definitely looks a bit different than what that example from toastui has. So we've got some work to do to munge this, but I use this R Markdown document to kind of document what I'm seeing, and then the various pre-process, or you say post-processing operations to try and get it into at least close to the format that we need. And so I've gotten pretty far with this. I took it in different stages, where I first want to grab all the columns that are corresponding to starting and ending times, but the quirk in this this raw data that we're using here is they put the time zone like in the field like variable name. We want to extract that as like metadata as we import this so that we can actually, with the time zone that we know that this entry originated from, we can easily pivot to new time zones but then restore it back to the way it was set up before. So this is really just some dplyr and tidyr processing here where I pivot it to a long format, this subset of the unique ID and then these relevant columns. And so I can look at that, and then we can, in VS Code, we'll take a look at what this DT-DF looks like. And now you can see how, let me collapse this a bit. We've got basically the key things we want. We got the unique ID for that entry, the time zone, although we haven't cleaned it yet. And we have the DT start and DT end as separated columns. So this looks a lot better. And we also made sure that any entries that were missing because they have multiple time zones, which doesn't happen here, but it does happen with the other calendar I was starting with last time. Now we've got a nice kind of tidy longitudinal format. So with that solved, now we've got to figure out how do we get the values that were in these start and end times conform to the format that we want for toastui, where we go from this like very minimal string to one that's a little more logically separated. And this is where I've been having a lot of fun actually exploring a package called clock. If you haven't seen clock before, this is relatively new. It's from Davis Vaughn, who works on the at our studio software engineer. I believe he's working with Max Kuhn on the Tidy Models team, but he has been working on clock for a while, and it is pretty darn cool. I'll say that. Yeah, hey Tan, welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it. I'll get the chat back here. Yep. So I haven't done much yet with the app yet. I've been going over kind of the things I've been doing with prototyping the post-processing, which ironically I was working on quite a bit when you were doing your last stream. So you were kind of encouraging me along even indirectly. So clock is a really cool package. The logical question might be, if you've heard about the package called Lubridate, how different is it? It does seem to have like a totally different backend as opposed to Lubridate, and it's trying to do a bit more things under the hood. But I was even telling Tan last time we were chatting. Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't really get to pair program at my day job because usually I'm building the stuff that, not to sound conceited here, but there's only like a handful of people that can be good sounding boards for like the issues I'm dealing with, and then they're doing their own thing because we're all so busy. So it's cool to be able to do these things and work on cool stuff, even if it's different things. But I just love that atmosphere. So yeah, Lubridate and clock are definitely different, but I think clock is going to be very helpful for the things I want to do in this app, especially with time zone management. So going back to VS Code, let's look at how I'm using clock here. So I've loaded clock already, but I have a toy example here where I define one of these more ugly looking date time values that we would get from that raw iCal import. And then I'm also, just for the sake of illustration, putting in the time zone, hard coding it. But clock has a function called datetime parse, where you can feed in that string that you want to parse, but you can also feed in the time zone. And then lastly, you put in the format. If it's a non-standard format, you use the typical, I don't know how they call these, but whenever I worked with Lubridate in the past, you always have to put like the year of a %y, the 2-month digit as % lowercase m, etc., etc. So we parse the date, and then they have an interesting function called as naive time, which basically kind of gets it into a more brief timestamp that ignores time zone. And then we're going to kind of add it back as what's called a zoned time. Now, this is what's cool about this, is that I think what this is going to let me do is I'm going to be able to pivot between different zones by just rerunning this as zone time stuff at some point in the processing. So that in my calendar app, if we want to let the user switch between like US Eastern Standard Time to like UTC or GMT or whatever the other ones are, we should be able to do it with just this kind of function call. So if I run this, you can see that now clock package gives it this attribute of zone time. I'm not sure what second means, but then it says European Zurich, which is what I wanted. And then it gives the timestamp, and you see it looks a little different than what I am going to need eventually, but it may be helpful as I illustrate this later on. So as I took learnings from that, I wanted to apply that kind of thing to the process data frame that I took in just earlier, and I made a function called time parser, where I kind of wrap that clock stuff, and then I give it the option to convert the character if we want, and then I'll just do that at the end. So it's a very basic function. But now let's see what happens when I apply this function after a little munging to get rid of some ancillary bits from that time zone thing, and get like what I'll call the start and end times in the clock way of doing it. And then we'll take a look at it. So let's run this. I love how fast that is. That's like literally a snap of a finger. A couple things to note that I found out the hard way. Originally, I wanted to do a map to, but like coerce it to a different, like a more logical type, that like vector type. If I do character, it actually messes it up a little bit. But I wanted to do something where it preserved like the POSIX CT or the date format, but it didn't really work. There isn't like a map underscore date variant. There's been an issue on the per GitHub repo where it looks like Hadley and others are talking about it, but they don't really have a unified approach yet. So my motivation for now is I'm going to keep these two as a list column, and then I'll be able to use another map function to just take that value and do whatever I want with it to get it into the Shiny app later on. So right now I'm just kind of keeping it as a list, which works well enough for now, even though it's just one value each cell. Now, the other thing that I worked on is tackling the translation. Yeah, we could true unlist, maybe so. It's not a bad idea. In fact, since we're here in our markdown, let's just give it a shot. We'll like do we'll see if this is illegal. I'll just do this kind of shorthand thing for now. Let's see if this causes any chaos or not. Well, that didn't quite work. Yeah, maybe I must have to do something else. We're running on nest. Oh, is there two in each? Yeah, that's a good point. Let's double check this. Let's run it the old way. This is important if we figure this out. So let's see if we do df2. We're gonna grab that first cell of start clock and see what's in here. So that should be just one value. If we pipe that to length, that should be just one. So maybe I just messed up the code for that. Yeah, it's length 1. I guess unnest might do it. Let's try unnest. Let's see if that works for this column, then we'll port it over. No. Oh, yeah, I forget. You need a call for that. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that over here after we let's try the, oops, I have, that always auto-completes that, so let's do unnest. Okay, and calls equal, do I do it like clock and clock? Does it work like this? Well, I guess we'll find out. Well, look at you go. That's it. Okay, so Tan, you already solved it. That's good enough for me. I'm okay with getting it to work in this format. So it looks like, yeah, if we do a glimpse, yeah, we're doing a glimpse already. It is this kind of odd way that clock denotes the attributes of it, but that means it is hopefully something that we can work with. It has a different print method, as you can see. So that's awesome. Now we don't have to do all the list columns. So then we've got that going. Now we're going to do a simple fix of the recurrence rule definition, because in the raw import they call it freq equal weekly. I just want to change that to every week, so that's a very easy change. Let me just do a rec out of that. And yep, now we got every week for that. And then we just put it all together. We just do a few left joins, or a couple left joins. And let's see what we get. Uh-oh. Did I screw up here? Raw DF. Let me look at my... I may have done some weird stuff before. Select UID. We have summary. We have this script. Oh. Right. The thing I made in Nextcloud with this, the streamer folks, is I didn't put a description in there. So it's not going to take description if it doesn't exist. I'll have to keep that in mind for later, but for now I'm just going to wipe that out. Let's see if that fixes it. Yep, it does. And then this is the part I'm going to change now, because now with Tan's help, I just made that a vector, so I can make this a lot easier. But let me first view the final DF and make sure that's looking as expected. Get rid of this. Okay, our UID, our title, location, start clock, end clock, time zone, recurrence role. Yeah, that's looking pretty good from the metadata standpoint. So let's close that out, and then let's now change this, since I don't have to do map anymore. I'm going to do just like this. Yeah, we're moving along. This is pretty cool stuff. There's a more efficient way to do it. Yes, that's a good point, Tan. So credit to Kuhn Ren and Miles McBain and others that are working on VS Code and the R extension, but they have these great little niceties in this new section. They call it with R, of course, but this is pretty close to that environment viewer in RStudio, where for certain objects, it's aware of the type of object. So for data frames, you get this little view icon here, and I'll just open it again. Then it runs a little widget inside it that does a nice like HTML table representation. It's kind of like DT actually, where you could then do a search, and well, maybe the search doesn't work like I thought it did, but it's supposed to kind of function like that. You might, I think you can sort. Yeah, you can sort too, so you can do all sorts of fun stuff here. Yeah, I really like it. The one thing I haven't gotten proficient yet with VS Code is debugging. They have some docs in there, but it hasn't become natural to me, especially with Shiny apps yet. So I'm still practicing, but in terms of like running basic things, it's working quite well. And they also have a special viewer for list objects. I can show that real quick if let me just make up a silly list here. List, let's see, 3. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so if you're familiar with that list viewer package that Kent Russell made many years ago, when you view a list in VS Code, you're able to to do the same kind of views here. Yeah, it's just like JSON. So like I said, that list viewer widget that I like to use with looking at API results that are being brought back as JSON, or I convert it to list. VS Code has all that built in, so it's pretty awesome actually. Now, the one thing I haven't found yet with our Markdown in VS Code is a way to get like the output of chunks that go below the code like you can do in the kind of notebook view in our studio. So I haven't quite nailed that yet, but I love how blazing fast it is, and it's, you know, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty darn cool. So I'm gonna tweak this function now. This is just a demonstration at this point of converting the different time zones. And let me find that time zone that we had hard-coded in this example here, and let's see if it works for this function call for zone time set. I'm still learning kind of how these functions work, and we'll see what happens when we run this. Let's save this out. Oh, I have an extra parentheses. Yep, that doesn't happen. Okay, I think we cleared that. Run. Okay, that's looking good. Let's view it. And if we look at start clock, this should look different in terms of a time zone. Yeah, that definitely looks different. So what that's saying is my live stream that starts at 10 p.m. Eastern starts the next day at 4 a.m. Europe Zurich time. So that conversion definitely worked. Now, I didn't change the time zone column here, but the idea is that that little zone time set zone function, say that 3 times fast, is going to be my extremely quick way for a user in the app to pivot to different time zones to get it to somewhere they can, you know, plan for their schedules if they want to watch some of the cool R streams, or even on Sunday we got the triple header, right? You know, making sure that's all in their time zone. So, all right, I'm pretty satisfied with this exploration. So the next step now is to take the things I've done here, and we're going to port this over to the app, and we're going to build some more utility functions that kind of be the processing to get it into that final tidy format. And then we're going to do within the app, experiment with like maybe little widgets to do the time zone conversion. So this is a technique. I'm really glad I learned this from the, you'll never guess who I'm going to reference here, the team at ThinkR in their engineering production Shiny app book. They have a section where they say, okay, start prototyping your backend logic and things like R Markdown, so that when you start translating that into your app, you kind of have a nice narrative of where your thought process was. And I really like that approach here. So, okay, so what we want to do now is I'm going to open up the file. And since you saw this, Tan, but I did convert this straight to Golem because, wait for it, at least for me, once you go Golem, you never go back. So anyway, I'm going Golem with it. And so we've got import cal, which was that raw format of the calendar import straight from the Nextcloud server. Now let's just make a function for now. I'm going to make a kind of like all those bits that I did in the R Markdown document, just kind of paste it into one function. I'm terrible with naming things. I don't think you're the only one that hasn't fully converted yet, Tan. Well, in due time, of course. At work, I've got at least 2 other people that I work. Well, I don't necessarily work with day to day anymore, but in my internal Shiny forum, I've been singing the praises of Golem, and they've actually listened, so they've been hard at work on that. So, okay, so what we want for process cal is we want the, I'm bad at naming these things. We'll do cal df Let me look at what else I did in this R Markdown file. Yeah, boy, I feel like, yeah, the act of going through Golem, ironically for me, is it's made me a better overall package developer, because before, I did a couple internal things before I got into Shiny a lot, but I never really thought it through carefully enough. But going through Golem stuff, it made me think a little more carefully, and now for like a lot of my other internal packages that are more like the app uses them as a backend kind of thing, kind of like what you're doing with your FF scraper stuff. It's made me think of a design API kind of a lot better. So I'm really enjoying that learning journey. I'm not as sophisticated as my teammate at the day job, who's also the author of the Targets package, Will Landau. He is just a huge echelon above me, so I'm learning from him every time we talk, but it's slowly getting there. I will say that. So let me see what I need here. So we have raw DF. In fact, I should just call it raw DF just to make it easier for myself. Raw DF, and then we'll go back to the calendar. You know what? Why am I acting so silly about this? Another thing I love about VS Code is we can split the view very easily. At least, oh, I have to right click it, I think. Split right. I'm going to close it from here, and now I'm going to start the copy pasta, as they say. Whoa, 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 I didn't want to edit that. Go back. Okay, yeah, there we go. Have to make sure I'm in the right thing. DF, boom. Okay, let's start backporting some of this. So let's go back at the top here. And raw DF. Let's import the packages we're gonna need. Import from. Oh, what am I doing? I need our oxygen syntax. Okay. Import from. So well, for tidyr, I don't really use anything more than the pivots once, so I'm probably not going to import tidyr. I don't think we need it there, but I do a lot of dplyr stuff. Now, we've had this talk before. So do I do mutate? What else do I do here? Anything else I do in select, of course. Unless comes from tidyr, actually, so I have to I'll left join. And that might be it. And then I will just prefix this since I hardly ever use it. And code. Alright. And then we do use clock. I'm just going to be... do I fall for the temptation, or do I just import the whole package? We use daytime parse as zone time. Yeah, this is some well, I want to be better at this, so I'm gonna be more verbose. So from clock, we got daytime parse. We got as naive time, as zone time, and I think it was what do we call this one over here? Zone time set zone. Okay. Let's paste that in. Whoops, that didn't work as expected. And then it was it's zone time set zone. Did I get the other one right? Look, as zoned time. Okay, yep. And then anything else? Oh, we do per, of course. Okay, we got to import per. App 2. think I do anything else for that. I'm just names prefixing stringer. That's easy enough. Okay, I think that's all the imports we need. We'll do no RD for now. So cool, we got that. All right. We'll document it later. I just want to get it working for now. So let's start copying over all that fun processing bit. Put that in here. Okay, I'm going to tell you one of my complaints about VS Code. It does not get the indentation right when you do the paste initially, if you're like pasting it into a function, so you have to kind of clean it up afterwards. I'm not the most thrilled about that, but I'll keep getting used to that. So, all right. Now we got that set up. We're going to. You're right, I didn't. Good call. Good call, filter. Yep. Good eyes. Oh, I should define this one, the time parser. I need to copy that in here. This is very much a utility function. I'm not going to bother documenting it. For now, anyway. In fact, I'm just going to prefix the heck out of this one. Yeah, that's simple enough. Okay, we got that in here. And then we're going to... There will be cleaning later, but for now I'm being lazy. See, it didn't get the indentation right again. That's annoying. That. Really? Well, I always saw an import from. You had to put the name of the package and then the name of functions afterwards. That was my understanding of it, but if I'm mistaken, please correct me. Okay, so defines your whole Oh, really? Oh, I thought it was on a function by function basis. Oh, wait, that's interesting. Okay, so if I redocument it after that, all the other functions should have it available. Yeah, right. I know it appears in namespace, but you're saying that if I do it once somewhere, I don't have to like do it over again other places. I am guessing, but I'll keep that in mind. That's good. Okay. There's your I should have a soundboard for like the more you know thing from NBC years ago. That's the more you know. So DTDF2. Now I'm going to do recdf. There will be comments later, but I just wanted to get this in here. Again, the indentation. I should, at some point, I need to ping the, like I said, the authors of those VS Code R extensions, because I don't think anybody else is live streaming VS Code with R right now. I think I'm the only one. I've seen people do various blog posts about it, but I haven't seen anybody live stream it, so I'm in uncharted territory here. Now, this is the final one. I'm just going to throw that in here. And I think that's the last one we need, so I'm just going to return the heck out of that. And we're going to save that out. So now what we could do is we can try running this function in the R Markdown document, taking the raw DF and seeing what happens. So let me move this back to the overview. We're done with that. And hello, Afton. Welcome back. Shout out to Afton. She is one of the people that first got me hooked into streaming. It's always great to see you here. You and Tan are here. That's great. And so we're doing some back-end logic for the what I'm calling shinycal app I'm working on now, and we're playing with the clock package and some dplyr and tidyr and Parse stuff to get the raw import of the calendar into a format that the UI widget I'm going to use is expecting. So we are basically done. Let's give something a try. All right. And so we're going to add a chunk here. There's no keyboard shortcut that I know of to add chunks in VS Code, so you just have to kind of start typing it out. Key. And then you have to close it out, and then you'll get that little run chunk thing there. So let me make sure I source the script that I do in the setup here. And we'll use the viewer here. Go in here, and let's try. What did I call that function again? It's a process cal. And I don't care. Process cal. Raw df. Here comes the moment of truth. Will this function work? Ooh, no errors. Let's find out. Let's view the heck out of it. Call it DFA for reasons. And ooh, I think we got it. We got it. Got to use the unique ID, title, location, the start and end, and from the clock package, the time zone, recurrence rule. Oh, nice. Winning. All right, we got it. So this is ready for the app. Oh, that's exciting stuff. Okay. Good job. Tan caught a couple small things that would have tripped me up, and we fixed it. So very cool. So yeah, VS Code, Afton. This is something I am trying out. It's gotten a lot better in the last few months. The work that Ken Roon and the other developer. In fact, I'm gonna show you the repo of it, because I'm really impressed with what they're doing here. Okay, let me go to browser here. So this is the repo for it. If you ever want to try it out, if you like get VS Code installed on your system, there it is. I put it in the chat. They've documented a lot of things in here. You have a wiki page for more details, but it's coming along nicely. I'm not fully converted from RStudio yet. I still pivot back and forth, and I was telling Tan that debugging shiny apps in VS Code is still not quite natural yet in VS Code, so that's why it's great to have both readily available. But literally in my stream as I speak, I have two windows side by side, so I can pivot between one and the other at basically a click of a mouse at this point. But yeah, I'm really liking VS Code for the general R development for now. So, okay, we are going to now start back to the app and getting this into the format that we need for the toastui widget. So let's orient myself again. I'll show you what the app is doing right now. And let's hit Control Enter here. What is that about? Clock, init. What the heck did I do there? Okay, it must be a documentation thing. Let's go back to the, did I screw this up? Clock, daytime parse, as nighttime as zone time. You accidentally source a file rather than using load R. Okay, so I've done something screwy here. Now, what I don't like about VS Code, like the native stuff, is that it has a linter that automatically executes, so it's kind of hard to see what I've done here. Named, yeah, I know, right? Although I think I've screwed it up. Date time parse. That is. What did I do wrong? Yeah, don't worry about those conflicts. Although I'm. Oh, wait a minute. in my description file, I don't think I've updated my dependencies, have I? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Okay, so let's rectify that quickly. Package. What? What is happening here? Clock is definitely in my system. Did I... some shenanigans are happening here. Okay. Well, right, I don't. I was trying to add it there. I guess I have to type it in verbatim. Oh, because I didn't add it first. Maybe it totally screwed up. Yeah, I'll just hard code it here. Okay. Yeah, I guess I got a little too ambitious there. So I'm going to quit this terminal. Now I'm going to launch another one. Hello, Coder Cow. How are you? Welcome to the stream. If you never saw the intro to the stream yet, when I post the VOD on YouTube, you'll like what you see. I'll just say that. All three of you will like what you see there. If you haven't watched yet. So, okay, let's get an R terminal. Okay, so we're back in business. Let's see if this did the trick. Run this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is the using the toastui package, and it's using the demo calendar thing. Oh, Nick, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Oh, that is awesome. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome. Oh, it's a raid. Oh, yes. Very cool. Welcome. Those of you that are watching, Nick. We are hard at work. You kind of saw this at the last week. We're working on that Shiny calendar with the Shiny package in R for documenting all of the excellent streamers for data science and R and anything else that people are streaming about for data science. So we are making good progress. We've got an app with a demo set, but we're going to start incorporating the actual streamer data. So to recap a bit of where I'm pulling it from, let me go back to my browser here. What you're seeing here is what I'm calling the Nextcloud calendar, and you can see I've hard-coded a few of the entries already. This is certainly not exhaustive yet. I just wanted something to start working with. And we're going to start importing this into the app now that I've got kind of the processing bits almost set to go. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting much closer. And we're going to wipe out the demo stuff and put in the actual streamer thing. So, okay, back to work, as I say. So let's close this, stop the app, and now let's get to the app code itself. And of course, my light just went out. So this is why if you're a streamer and you use extra hardware, have an extra battery handy for these exact times. There we go. How's that? That took about 5 seconds. Oh, I love being prepared. So what we want to do now is we want to go into the app server stuff, and we're going to orient myself on what I did here. Is this app has been constructed as a package, again with the Golem package, one of my favorites. And so the app server right now is basically its only job is to import the calendar in the raw format and then run the module that's dedicated to viewing the calendar. And we're passing in the calendar DF. In fact, I'm going to call this raw DF. And or actually what we could do now is why not just do all this processing here, and we will do process cal, and this will be the cal DF. So this will be the cleaned version. Hello, Eat Game Love. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here. It's great to have you all watching me do some fun Shiny app development. And so we've got that passed in. And so what we want to do now is we want to start looking at the module for this and start doing the bits we need to get it into the way that the toastui render calendar function needs it to be. Now, I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to try putting a browser in here and see if VS Code is smart enough to dump me in here when I run the app. We will find out. Okay. So let's run this. Oh, it did. Okay. We are in. Let's go back to the code here. So I want to look at my CalDF again. So let's do a glimpse on that. Oh, deployer it. Namespace it. Okay, so we've got... Wait a minute here. That ain't right. That's a raw format. Ooh, something fishy happened here. Let me get out of this. Clearly something went haywire in my app server. Oh, I didn't save it. Oh, ugh, that always happens. All right, let's try that now. Let me make sure that I take the browser out. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, let's run that. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. So that's a problem with my function. I thought we had that solved. Let's stop that, and we will. We'll keep the browser in there, but now we have to go back to my processor function. Oh, maybe I. Yeah, I think I know what happened. I forgot something from the R Markdown file. So if you didn't join in the beginning, I was telling Tan that.
Fat is awesome.
Well, thank you. That is awesome for the follow. Appreciate it. So I think I did not copy something correct. Oh, gosh, that one. A mutate call. That will do it. All right. So put that here. Yep. Too scary, huh? Oh, that's always a shame. Yeah. All right. Okay, that should do it. We will... Oh, you were... Oh. Why you watch that at night? You're braver than me. I don't watch that stuff at night. I like to sleep. So let's get back into the swing of things, and... Where'd my run dev script go? Let me start cleaning up here. Oh, there it is. Okay. This should fix those shenanigans that we had going. Oh, the import again. Okay, yep. Okay, Swen. All right. Yeah, that should fix that one. Well, don't get me wrong. I like a good horror movie. I'm just picky when I watch it. Reminds me of college days when we would go out as a group and watch some horror movies at late night theaters, and some of my friends were a little less brave than even I was, so it was fun to okay, shiny. that would be slick. Speaking of, okay, late breaking news, as they say. Had a great chat with one of my trusted contacts at our studio, and I am hearing, can't say officially yet, that we'll be hearing results of the Shiny contest hopefully next week. So keep tabs for that. Really looking forward to seeing it. I actually have I don't know the full results yet, but I've got some more data that I've been given the keys to play with, so we'll have fun with that later. So we got the import there. This should take care of it. UID doesn't exist. What? Still? What did I do wrong here? Okay. Looks like I gotta put a browser in that function. I am definitely doing something wrong here. Okay, well, this is what I do all the time at work. Our browser's in here, and we will have at it. All right. Having our space, we got raw DF. We're gonna start running this here. DT, well that definitely worked. So let's do our LS again. We got DTDF, DTDF, start and select. Don't tell me this is the one that messed up. We'll find out. Well, let's look at names. Yeah, we got UID there. Okay, let's do this. That worked. Let me see if I can work. Oh, this is the one downside of debugging in VS Code. Your workspace that you like to use when you're in a browser session is empty. You have to do something different for that. So I haven't quite got the hang of it yet. Yeah, I can definitely still glimpse. Like all the command line stuff definitely works. So we're gonna take you up on that offer. We're gonna glimpse DTDF2. UID is definitely here. So then let's look at rec. Oh. That. There it is. Because I'm using the raw DF there. I gotta port over that mutate call. There's probably a better way to do this, but you know, I'm just gonna work. And this was the issue. Yep. Let's do the glimpse again. Rec DF. Oh yeah, that's more like it. The final DF. Oh. Oh, I gotta be more efficient about this one. Yeah, you are already laughing at me. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I thought about janitor. I just wanted to be more explicit for now, in case it would be a little too generous, I guess. But yeah, okay, let's look at what's that. Final DF. All right, and we fixed this. We're in business here. No, don't do search. Let's get out of all that. We don't need a browser anymore. And now we should be back to where we started with. And we'll run the app again. And we'll go from there. Don't think I need the R markdown anymore. Clear these things. Get rid of this. All right. Yes, we are back. Okay, so now this is the part we're gonna play with this in the app now. And we're gonna look at ways of utilizing CalDF in here. In fact, we will see how bad it looks if we just do CalDF right here in the calendar function from toastui and see if this actually works. I don't know if this will actually run or not, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, this is okay. So this is what I expected. So the toastui calendar function, that data frame of the calendar has a specific syntax, and the cal demo data did treat that as character. So let us see what happens if we do a little munging. I kind of did some of it here, but this is a little outdated now, so I'm going to change it up. cal sub df mutate. Now, oh, I should go back to the arm. Oh no, I can run this real quick and just get familiar with the columns again. So they call it start and end. So we're gonna mutate start as this is the first pass of it. I doubt this will work. Start block and same thing and clock, and I think that's all. Sub, run that. Good. Cal sub is fine, and we'll see if this actually compiles. Oh, so maybe I can't. Well, let me look what. Oh, my workspace probably won't have it. Let's do the glimpse thing again. I think I just gotta not keep the clock ones. Minus clock. End clock. Okay, because these definitely got the character. Now we'll see if the widget complains about it, but it definitely got its character. Let's try it. Well, good news is it renders. The bad news is nothing shows up. So we got more work to do, but we're slowly getting there. But just for kicks, what I'll do is I'll stop the browser. We'll see if just for a reason it was because of the browser issue that it didn't render correctly, and we'll run the app fully. Yeah, nothing's showing up. So it must be picky. I'll tell you what I think it's picky about. It's definitely picky about the it's picky about the start and end time. So we've got to clean it up a bit to be in that format that we wanted, that we export in the R Markdown file. So I'm going to get back to that. We need it to be like this. So let me copy that over just for reference here. There's a copy here. Okay. So after the conversion of character, we've got to, although I wonder if I can strip out the time zone stuff in a clock function instead. That's kind of what I might want to try next, but I'll have that in my reference here. By the way, I think some of you were watching Slice last night. There was a lot of drama at the end, and that R bomb it struck. Who did it strike? I forgot who it was, but ooh, that was rough. I felt bad. Okay, let's run this. Stop this thing, of course. Okay, we're back in our browser here, and now I want to look at the clock package docs for a second, because what I want to do is I want to get that time zone out of that entry before I display it. So maybe I have to convert it back to as naive time. Let's give that a shot here. I will try this out and see if that, when I convert the character after that point, if it did what I wanted. Let's find out. Start. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Oh, look at that. That is exactly what I want. Okay. So I'll clean this up. Just being very diligent about this for now, just to make it consistent. And then let's see, did I have parentheses? Yep. Okay, good. Let's give this a shot and see if that gets in there. All right. Flips the heck out of that. Title. Yep. All right. Here we go. Let's see if this gets a calendar to show up. We're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. You can't read that here probably, but if I, oh no, that's not looking good. We'll put it in the app, but we are in business. Oh, this is exciting. This is very different than what I do in my day-to-day stuff right now. I'm doing a lot of HPC things, and it's a lot, frankly, more difficult to debug those, but I'm happy that I'm able to get out of that for a little bit and try something different for a change. So this is exciting. We're in good shape now. Let's run that again just cleanly and see what that looks. Yep. Okay. So, are the dates correct? Yes, Nick won on his pre-slice contest info. Slice itself. Yeah, now that shows up better. 2021, 6:15, 8:30 to 11:30. And there's my little humble thing right there. And yep, that one. Mariah, she does it at 6:30. And Afton, here you are. You stretch out from one day to another in Eastern time, so that's why you get the 2. And then Tan, there you are on Saturday evening, and then Sunday, your Afton, your Stardew testing time, and Tan, your research for fantasy. Whoa, that's weird character spacing there. I'll have to double check that. And Jesse's Tiny Tuesday Unfiltered. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Now, this toastui widget has a lot. Uh-oh, we got a problem here. It did not take the recurring. In my Nextcloud thing, it definitely is supposed to go every week, and it didn't do that. So there's something odd going on with that side of it. So I'll have to see what toastui wants us to do for that. Time to crack into the so this is kind of like in RStudio, how you have like the packages tab and you can browse package docs by clicking the name of it. We can do something similar in VS Code here. And let's find toastui. Toast, toast, toast. There we are. Okay. Let me see what this function is. That? Huh. So I wonder... That's interesting. I want to figure out how to get the recurrence stuff working. Let's see, whatever functions we have here. I haven't dived as much into it yet, but I know we gotta figure that piece out somewhere. Gotta figure out then, because their demo data definitely has weekly or recurrence. I thought it did anyway. Let me look at it again. Yeah, let's look at this again. Always forget that. Recurrence rule every week. Now, did I not have that in my process? Oh, I didn't select the column. Okay, that's why. That's why. Let's get out of this. Oh, no, no? No, let's go back here and find out. Very, very bizarre. Let's do that again. Okay. We are going to run this and see what happened there. View it. Now, what do we have here? Well, that definitely has it. So there must be something odd going on with the calendar widget that doesn't give it every week. Time to go to the docs, as they say. Let's see, toast. Package. And by the way, if you're not familiar with this package, it's made by the same folks that make the Shiny Widgets package. I use that in every Shiny app I make, from the fine friends at Dreamers. They do awesome stuff. So let's look at their documentation page. And this is the calendar here. Now, in their thing, they don't do a lot of recurrence stuff, so I wonder if it's just something that's not documented as well. Let's look at the calendar article and see if we can find anything here. Data frame with schedule examples. Yep, we got that. Cal props. So this is what I basically copied for the app to kind of get it working. I noticed in none of their examples that they do recurrence stuff. So let me look at the docs here, and I'll zoom in a little bit in case it's easier to read. Okay, Cal demo data, Cal events. Oh, that's events in JavaScript, not the calendar stuff. It's this thing I'm wondering about. This schedule thing. Although in this I don't have a recurrence rule here either. But let me look at what this is expecting. Well, they definitely support it. Recurrence rule. And they just say character string, so I'm new to this calendar JS stuff. How do I get anything? Huh. Just click one of these. It's not really helping me. Okay. Okay, that is very odd how we can get recurrence in there. Make sure there isn't any options that I missed. Schedule filter. This package is not on CRAN yet, and you can kind of tell because the examples I think are a little lacking at the moment, but I'd love to get that recurrence stuff set up. every week, every week. Why doesn't mine work with every week? Let me close this. Let me look at the example, and maybe that didn't render recurrence either. Feed in that cal demo data again and just see it viewing the link here. Let's look at, oh, I need the navigation thing, yeah. Use navigation, true. Okay. Yeah, thanks Tan for searching for that. Well, this is telling here though. Remember they had every week, but look, that thing definitely stops after, in their example of like June 29, there's like nothing happening after that. So clearly that is a upstream, or frankly just a missing feature. That's going to make things a little more problematic, although this may be the time. Tan knows where I'm about to go with this, but when you saw my tweet talking about the stream today, you pointed me to a great idea to get the schedule from the Twitch API, which this is it. Get channel iCalendar. This API endpoint does not need authorization, and apparently it's just as easy as this GET request. Now the question will be, what will this return to me as? If it returns the full recurrence in iCal format, and it has like separate entries for each recurrence, or if it does like one entry, like say a Monday stream, and then it has that flag that we saw from my Nextcloud thing and it says recurrence, then I'm in the same boat as I was just now. But if that had like a bunch of entries, I guess that's the key. I have to figure out how that's gonna work here. Still kind of peeved that I can't get the toastui thing to work, although I want to go on their GitHub here and make sure nobody put an issue about that. I see somebody's talking about adding a schedule, but it looks like they're not doing recurrence time here. I may look at this later on, but clearly they're not doing anything with recurrence, so I'm tempted to put an issue on their tracker that say this is what I'm trying to do and see if I just missed something. I might do that later on off stream to get a reprex, as they say, that would work outside of Shiny. Since this is just an HTML widget, you should be able to use this outside of Shiny without a problem. So yeah, but if we look at what we've accomplished thus far, I think the format is exactly as it needs, and we just run the app again to look back at what we have here. Oh, that was silly there. Did I take out the browser? Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, let's try that again. Yeah, so I mean the win here is that we got the entries in the right spot for a single occurrence. What I want to work on next is beefing up the description of these entries, and that's probably where the Twitch API stuff is going to come in handy. And frankly, not just the schedule thing, but if I can get like a snapshot of maybe the maybe like the high level metrics of a channel, like the number of followers, or maybe how many previous streams they've done, like those kind of things. With Shiny, I can just bundle this in as like on-demand things that I could bundle in these like pop-ups here. We even have other metadata that's like below the calendar, that when you click on something, it has like a box below, or like a dashboard like kind of stuff at the top, where it kind of has that selected for each person you're clicking on here. So I feel like there's a lot more we can accomplish here. But while I think about the recurrence stuff, it's probably time to augment some data with what we have currently. The other thing I'm thinking about is like the mechanisms for adding stuff here. So what I was thinking about, you can all chime in if you like, is I have an automated job that would import the calendar, whether it's from my Nextcloud thing or if it's from the Twitch API, for a defined list of Twitch users. I have code much like this backend app does to like clean that up and get it into a data frame like structure. I serve that up as like a pin with the pins package, and then the app literally just imports that at each time, and that way I can take out the administration of adding users to this calendar stuff and take that outside the app, so that the app is simply just a window of that processed stuff, and that processing is done outside. Because as you've been kind of seeing, there'd be a lot more people are interested in doing this more regularly. So I want an easy way to add people to it without necessarily having to change the app every time. So that may be something I play with later this week or early next week, is getting that into a more automated process. Is it too geeky? Probably, but this is the way I learn. I want to start stitching exactly. Yep, took the words out of my mouth. GitHub Actions. We can automate that at a certain time of night or a time of day. And we can just simply have a script that does this. It would be as much bulletproof as possible to prevent errors from occurring. But I feel like we just store some kind of file, whether it's a CSV or a YAML or whatever else, and then that automated job just takes it, imports that set of names, runs like map across all of them, and does the processing magic, and then I think we're in business. By the way, I forgot to go back to VS Code here. This is what I was talking about, is that we can augment these tips here with the more metadata, but if we can take that processing outside the app, I think it'll be more robust in the future. And then, like, the other cool things we can do, and this will be up Afton's alley with the things she did for a Shiny contest, we can style this calendar a lot of different ways. We can make it really pop to us. You don't have to stick with the defaults here, because all of you doing day jobs like I do, I'm sick of looking at my work calendar. It's boring as heck, and frankly gives me almost nausea when I have like a day like today where I had meetings nonstop from 8:30 in the morning to like 3 o'clock or like 2:30. I had like a half-hour break, and then I talked with our studio person at 3, and then yeah, it was like whew, crazy. Good points. Can we iframe a Twitch viewer? That would all depend if we can get the link to that. And I mean, you can iframe almost anything, but we'd have to see if in the Twitch page, when you go to somebody's stream, if you can extract that cleanly, because you're on the right track. I want to do something that makes it pop out like what their stream is about and the things they've done, and make it convenient that if you go to my calendar that I'm working on here and you want to see Nick's stream or Afton's stream or Tan's stream or Kyle's stream or whatever have you, you can just click something or watch maybe an embedded preview of it. So Well, yeah, I'm actually going to probably wrap up the stream here. I'm only supposed to go 90 minutes, but I think I'm actually really excited. Like, even though the recurrence thing isn't working, we've got a calendar here of actual R streamers here. This is good stuff.
Thank you for the follow, Michaela Debolt.
Well, thank you, Michael Debolt, for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, so I think to kind of recap what I'm thinking about for next time, let's see about integrating the Twitch kind of metadata from the API and some other niceties that we can do here. Oh, actually, Afton, I ditched the Python stuff with Tan's help. Maybe I'll bring it back later, but I got the calendar stuff without it, thanks to our community, with 2 calendar packages to import everything with a little mixing up on top. So the app is less complex now. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh yeah, absolutely. No problem there. And you bring up a good point. We can use the category stuff in these entries to kind of give different labels to these. So if they're like an R streamer or a Python streamer, that way we could even do subsetting based on that too. Not that I'm trying to stir up controversy, but you know, you get metadata, you got to take advantage of it. So, so yeah, I think I'm gonna probably wrap it up there. Huge thanks to each of you for tuning in and geeking out with me on the Shiny calendar. I think we're on a great progress here. Yeah, maybe YAML tags are like, the possibilities are kind of endless here. I think we can do a lot of cool stuff with this. So if you're liking what you're seeing, if you've been lurking around, I talk a lot about R in my various media productions. I mentioned to it at the top. Let me go back to that for a second. If you like learning about Shiny, I highly recommend checking out the Shiny Developer Series channel on YouTube. That is at youtube.com/ShinyDevs, Shiny Developer Series. You may have seen that in the chat throughout. Lots of great content of previous interviews, and I do break it out in playlists by the interviews and by the live stream. So every live stream I do here on Twitch goes on YouTube the day after, or at least close to the day after, so that it's preserved in all of its glory, as they say. The other effort I'm involved with is R Weekly, where we curate the top stories each week in the R community. We have all the stories broken out by categories, and yes, videos and podcasts are there as well. And speaking of podcasts, if you like to hear my audio voice on the top stories, listen to the R Weekly Highlights podcast, where it's released about every Tuesday morning. It's a short 10, 15 minute at the most audio radio show, if you will. And I dive into all the cool stories that we selected at the top of each issue. I put links to get more information. It's kind of like a great way to start your day, if you will, of our knowledge. And what I'm most known for, albeit it's been on hiatus for a bit, is the R podcast. I can lay claim to being the first ever podcaster about R, and technically the longest running, even though I only have 33 episodes. It's had a lot of stops and starts, but hey, it's got a great back catalog. We've had a lot of great guests on that. You might recognize a few of these names from our studio and other influential areas. So definitely check out the back catalog of that if you want to have more audio goodness for your R knowledge. So, okay. Well, again, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. And y'all have a great night. I'm going to get some shut-eye. It's getting late over here. And hopefully I keep plugging away at the Shiny Cal, and we'll get some out for the public very soon. So, thank you. Please follow and do all that good stuff. Share on Twitter if you enjoyed this. I always like connecting with the community going forward. So we shall see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks again.